finding an acting teacher can be daunting. Finding a great acting teacher can almost be impossible. So I have a checklist to help you find not just any acting teacher, but finding the right and great acting teacher for you. The first thing I always do is make a list of what it is that I'm looking for in an acting teacher. Usually, my criteria is I want an acting teacher who has a great reputation in Hollywood, an acting teacher whose students work professionally all the time, and an acting teacher whose students have won Academy Awards, Emmy Awards, Tony Awards. I am looking to work with the best teacher so they can pull out the best in me. Because if their students are winning awards, they are teaching them a technique that wins every time. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for that technique that's going to help me win every time I use it. So the next thing I do is I start researching who are the actors who are winning awards or who are getting nominated for awards. They know something because they have a technique that works for them. Usually that comes from an acting teacher. So I'll do my research and find out who are the teachers that they're working with. I'll make a list of those teachers, and then I'll find out, are they on the East Coast or the West Coast? And if they're in Los Angeles, you better believe I am going to go and audit those classes. So the next thing that I do is once I get the list of those teachers that are here in Los Angeles, or if maybe for you it's New York, and then I'm going to find out where they're located, what their phone number is. I'm going to call up and find out what the process is to audit their classes. Auditing, in case you don't know, is when you pay to watch the class, but you don't participate. So maybe you pay $50, maybe it's $60 to sit in on the class, to watch how the teacher works with the students, but you don't get to participate and you don't get to comment. You just get to observe. That's what auditing is. So I'm going to audit their classes. I'm going to take my notebook and a pen, and while they're teaching, I'm going to make notes because there's things that's going to pop up in my head, like how many times a month will I be able to work? How much is the fee per month for class? Is it an ongoing class? Is it just maybe a 6 or 8 week class and then you start all over again? Those are pieces of information that I need to know if I am going to commit to working with an acting teacher, or if I can have a private with that teacher. A private session is you bring a piece of work and the teacher will work on it with you during a period of time. Usually it's between a half an hour or an hour session that you're doing with that teacher privately. The reason being is I want to see if there's a love connection between me and the teacher. I want to find out their style of acting. I want to know how do they push the student, how they work with the student. I want to be able to know, can I trust this teacher for myself? Because sometimes the teacher could be great. They're just not great for you. I know other actors who didn't like the teachers that I was with because they felt they were too rough. So it's important as an actor to know how you work, you know, how you process information. If someone is yelling, maybe that's not your style. Maybe you want somebody who's more gentle and more giving and supportive. Maybe you want somebody who's just going to give you the information and you don't care how they give it to you. Acting is about being vulnerable, and you've got to be able to get naked with that teacher emotionally, not necessarily physically, but emotionally. You have to be able to get naked, and you got to trust them when they take you to very, very vulnerable places, that you want to have a sense of trust with that teacher. So that is why you want to audit. You want to know if the acting teacher also coaches on the side, and if they don't, who they recommend that does their technique. All of that is important. Once you have audited the class, you have asked your questions, then you have to decide who you're going to go with. And when you do, you want to make a commitment of being in that class for at least 4 to 6 months, because it usually takes 3 to 4 months to figure out the technique and start getting it in your body and really honing that technique down. And it usually takes about a year being in the acting class to really get comfortable and really own that material, own the technique, and really start to have a good relationship with the teacher. It takes time to really get to the place where the acting teacher knows your bad habits, they know certain things you do, and they can help you get away from those bad habits. They can help you develop a technique that works for you every time you go into an audition or you do a self-tape or you're on set. Guess what? I've got this fabulous little bundle just for you because you are a fabulous actor. I got it for you. So what do I got for you? Let me tell you what I got for you. I got the PR cheat sheet, which every actor needs. You need to know how to do your own PR until you get that job where you can pay for a PR person. Then I have the 12-step audition. That's another cheat sheet. You know, sometimes you get freaked out at auditions and you don't know what to do. Well, my 12-step audition cheat sheet will help you and guarantee that you will slam your audition every time. And the third thing I got for you is the casting sites. I have a list of casting sites so you can go and just submit yourself for that next big part. How does that sound? It sounds good, doesn't it? One thing I also suggest you do when you're looking for that acting teacher, even after you've audited them, find out what other actors have taken classes with them and get their opinion on them. Sometimes the opinion is right, sometimes it's not, but at least you have more information. I would also Google the acting teacher's name to see if any bad things come up. You want to make sure when you look them up on Google or on a search engine that they haven't done anything sketchy or questionable. You want them to have ethics. You want them to be serious teachers. You don't want them to be shady on any side of the street. Another suggestion I have, some of these teachers who are great have books out already. Read the books. Make sure that you like the technique that they're sharing, because you don't want to waste money going to an acting teacher that you don't like their technique. You don't like how they teach. And the acting books really do give you an insight of how the acting teacher teaches. I'm a real big believer in taking classes from someone who has an established relationship in Hollywood, where directors know them, producers know them, casting directors know them, and they trust their actors. So I say to you, why spend money on somebody who doesn't know the business, or the business doesn't know them, when you can spend your money, even though it's a little bit more expensive, but that's going to get you in the door. And the big thing about acting is you want to be able to get in the door. It doesn't matter how talented you are if no one will see you. So having an acting teacher who is reputable, who the industry knows, is going to help you a whole lot more than having a teacher that no one's ever heard of. So I'm going to push studying with top acting teachers, even though it's a little more pricey, because at the end of the day, it's going to help you. Not only that, it's not just about the acting teacher, because the students in the class will also help you. You know, being in a class like Ivana Chubbuck, you get to connect with all these students who are working. You get to be friends with them. You get to partner with them. You get to rehearse with them. Those people can also refer you to acting jobs, which I have to say, I have gotten acting jobs because my peer in an acting class referred me to a casting director or even to a director. So it all works in your favor. It's important not only to pick the right teacher, but also to make the commitment to study with them for a minimum of a year, because that will open doors for you. It will give you a technique. It will allow you to create a community with other actors who are in the class. It really is the best of the best for you to do this. But if you don't want to be successful, just go with any acting teacher and just struggle along. This business is about networking. It's about who you know. And when you're in a class where people are working, where the teacher is known by everybody in the business, that will open all kinds of doors for you. Not only that, but you also have students that will start making their own projects and will say, hey, come join us. Be part of this project. Be part of this short. Be part of this indie film that we're doing. It all works together. And there really is no excuses, because nowadays you can actually Zoom with the best teachers. A lot of them are online doing their classes. So there's no excuse that you can't study with somebody who's top notch. It's really up to you. It's what kind of commitment are you willing to make, and how much are you going to invest in your career, and are you willing to find the people that will help you get to where you want to go. And here's a video of some of the top acting schools in Los Angeles that I highly recommend.